Welcome to Celebrating Juneteenth, Past and Present, hosted by We Are One SEC and Worldwide Juneteenth. Today, we're going to talk to April Friendly, and she's going to express some of her work or discuss some of her work that she's doing to address some of these federal dollars that are coming into the African American community. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, April Friendly. How are you?
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Before we get started, I wanted to know, so what's your story? So tell me a little bit more about your background and where you're from.
Okay. My background, so I'm a community organizer. I've been working intentionally, getting paid to work on the community level for almost 10 years now, since 2012, just after I was fired from middle management at Whole Foods Market, where I was trying to climb up the ladder there, but kept getting passed over, and even training people to get promoted over me.
Okay.
Yeah, and from there as a disgruntled worker, and then also recognizing that it wasn't just me that was getting passed over, but it was a systemic thing. Really, all these white guys are better, more talented than all the folks working in the circle. I began to then start getting really politicized, and when I say working in community work, I started to, as a community member, started to look at how our government functions on the local level, municipal level, state level, and federal level, and then all the different policies that impact us, from housing to education, healthcare, even environmental justice.
Right.
Yeah, and now here I am, like I said, about 10 years later, working around our county level budget, looking at examining how our tax dollars, right?
Right.
Literally all the money that comes from the government is our money.
Right.
How our tax dollars literally get divested from our communities.
Right. Well, that is surprisingly not a new thing, right? This has been one of the concerns that we saw brought up, even with W.B. Du Bois and his desire to, or his decision to set up the NAACP and some of the other, the Alpha organization, Alpha Phi Alpha, to address some of those political issues. Have you done some of that research? Like how systemic is this issue as part of your journey? What kind of history did you drum up, especially in your area?
Yeah, and so you asked where I'm from. So I'm from the south suburbs. My family's been out there since 1987. Just recently moved to the over east here in Chicago. But I have, and so you asked about my study of history. It has been. I have been studying the Black diaspora. I have been studying more though concentrating on the history of Chicago and Cook County specifically. But also what I am discovering and learning as I talk with people from across the nation is that the issues that happen, or even the wealth extraction that intentionally goes on in Cook County or Chicago, is not distinct to Chicago. This is a almost every city USA
Right.
type of situation. And then when you go back, really looking at the continent, the motherland, I mean, that's what colonialism is. That's what colonizers literally do.
Right.
Extract.
Well, and that was interesting. And speaking about Chicago, that was the dynamics of financial extraction or extraction of wealth in the Black community was addressed in Ta-Nehisi Coates' article, Case for Reparations, right? The dynamic of African Americans coming from the South, moving to Chicago to find employment and looking for housing. They were being limited to a certain area of Chicago. And it got a little was expanded in any regard. Blacks were denied mortgage loans. Are you addressing some of those issues, access to capital as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, redlining, the history of redlining is absolutely real. And although we don't have redlining isn't explicitly in existence right now, just in my lifetime, I mean, I moving to the suburbs in 1987, I was very present to the what we call white flight, right? Being
Mm.
like the third Black family on the block to, now the block is completely flipped where there may be just three white families. Yet the tax base, the resource base that was there when white folks were there, essentially left with them.
Mm.
Right. And so now as I see it, so like I said, being from the South suburbs where we are
The majority.
overtaxed.
Oh, okay.
It's predominantly Black now, and a predominantly Black area, and we are literally taxed like we have one of the highest tax bases in Cook County, which is one of the counties that has the largest tax base in Illinois, or the largest amount of taxes taken from folks in Illinois. Illinois is also one of the highest states in the nation extracting taxes from people. So, and yet there are very few cranes, very few very little development happening out here in the South suburbs. Like literally the state of development or investment into these regions has declined.
Wow.
Just in my lifetime. So when we say celebrating past and present, like I'm very aware of, that plaza across the way or on 183rd, like used to have every shop was filled with businesses. Now, how's it been sitting for 20 years vacant? Yet we're still paying taxes for the 708 or the Riverwalk or for the Lincoln Yards projects, for development projects all around the county.
Wow. Well, then there are the new federal dollars coming in.
Yes.
Because of COVID. Do you see that the use of this money might be helpful to start balancing this history or some of the deficits that you've seen in your neighborhoods?
See that there's possibility for it, and I see that there's not the political will to actually do something that is outside of the status quo. I mean, the ruling class, the 1%, those who profit off of people's poverty, off of our poverty, right? Like, I don't actually see them and have heard directly from. Remember, I actually do, like as a part of my work, get to sit at tables with some of these legislators and policymakers. They're literally saying they are fatigued. And haven't we done enough for Black lives already? So when I say there's very political will to shift the trajectory of how our monies get spent or invested in us. The legislators say they're tired. And they're done fighting. They literally say, haven't we done enough? Which suggests to me that like there is no interest. There is no real interest in, again, the ruling class or the people who are doing the extracting from our communities to put money back into our community. Right. So that's actually work we gotta look. We, the people, have to push for.
All right. And so that's where budgetforblacklives.org comes in, huh?
Yes,
Is that going to help us understand what we need to do in order to right this ship?
Yeah, absolutely. Just first exposing how one element of how our money is extracted from us. So literally our county, Cook County, will be receiving $1 billion of federal monies for COVID relief, or the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA monies. And again, this is federal dollars, federal government dollars, which is again our money as well, right? Right? We don't not pay taxes. So these are our money. $1 billion will be added into our county budget. And right now, the county is saying, the Cook County Board is saying they're going to make the decisions about how that money is spent behind closed doors. They did open it up. Like, what do people in the community think? What do they want to do with the money? You know, what is their opinion? How should we spend these COVID relief dollars? And right now, the sentiment from our county board is that, like, we should spend it on quote unquote public safety. And when they say public safety, what they're talking about is policing or carceral agents. So, like, giving more money to the sheriff for the sheriff to conduct community programs.
Right.
Rather than investing directly into community. Or when they say housing assistance, they're not talking about looking at how we actually supply secure, safe housing for those who are housing secure, but give another voucher.
Okay. Well, what do you recommend? Some of the talk today is about more training or programs for entrepreneurs or funding for them to grow out their businesses and, help with hiring so that they can get good employees, and creating programs so students can get that exposure early so that they're, able to contribute as adults in a much more effective way. Are those some of the things that you think that the money should be used for?
Absolutely. Yeah. The money should be used for pipelines for us to create, like, actually thriving communities, because it's not going to happen in 6 months. Even an entrepreneur that, has their stuff together or has a real tight business plan, has an audience already, we need time to continue to develop.
Right.
And that's what we're talking about. Yeah. Investing in our future so that our communities can thrive. Budgetforblacklives.org. Thank you.
There it is. Thank you. Well, it was a pleasure talking to you this morning. It was April Friendly. And your name is matching the personality. I love it. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. This has been Celebrating Juneteenth, Past and Present, brought to you by We Are One SEC and Worldwide Juneteenth. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day.